This is from my young adult fantasy novel, A Fine Remedy. Disa is a teenage troll trying to reconcile her compassion for humans with the age-old assumptions that humans are food. Aggie is a troll her age she just met. Between the jars of salted goblin ears and ferrying wing poultices sitting on the cavern floor, 3 humans scurried about in a cage red with rust. With her sensitive nose, Disa detected a young girl in that jumble of men. The rose milk scent reminded her of her first pet whom she adored, a boy with hair of yellow who had been separated from his herd in the woods. Despite Disa's wishes, it seemed likely that this girl was fated to become supper as well. Sweat formed on Disa's freckled brow, despite her resolve to be calm. She couldn't free all the creatures. She couldn't even free herself. Disa eyed Aggie, who was cleaning his nose with a small conifer. An old man in the cage stepped into the light cast by the cauldron fire and thrust both arms through the tines of the cage. He had a curve in his back and a thin beard, all shades of smoke. Lifting one sleeve of his tunic to expose an emaciated arm, he pleaded with Aggie. "My tasteless flesh will ruin your stew with its rope and gristle, brother troll." Aggie closed the gap between them, the cage swallowed by his flickering shadow. One yank on the lock and the lid flew open. Disa screamed, but to her relief, the human girl ran away faster than any. "Bad for stew, but good for fire," said Aggie. With one hand around the man's throat, the troll snapped his bones like twigs. Tossing the fleshy sticks into the flames, Aggie chortled when Disa protested. He shoved her with his foot, sending her rattling into the cage. Through her pain, Disa noticed that the human girl, who wore tiny wolfskin boots and had a tiny dagger, was bravely shielding a man older than she. "Stay back, little troll," the girl whispered. "I've slayed marbats thrice your size. If you pray now, the gods might grant you life." Disa shook her head to see through her wiry nest of hair. "Troll folk don't pray," Disa said. "We simply get on with it." She paused. What was holding her back from getting on with it? "One more for Aggie," said Aggie, as he reached inside the cage. His furry fist reappeared with the young man and a few tiny stab wounds. "Take pity, troll." The human twisted and flailed but could conjure no magic. "I have wee ones. Think of them, how they would grieve." The expression changed on Aggie's pitted face. His eyes softened as a single thought worked its way through his head. Then he belched a chord of notes. "Lost me father to mountain's bottom. Do crag and scree take pity?" He tore the man apart, then threw him down the cliff of his throat. After licking the red juice from his fingers, he grunted, then shouted, "More! Who shall sleep in me belly next?" He reached for the last morsel, hand grasping and scraping inside the cage, but it was empty. Roaring with rage, Aggie spun around to find Disa smiling sweetly. Thank you.